State of Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled? No.
Let's cross now live to our US correspondent, Mark Stone, who was in the courtroom for those verdicts. Mark, very emotional scenes there.
Yes, an extraordinary moment, a moment of legal history, I would say, that I think will be used as a precedent in times to come. Kyle Rittenhouse, 18 years old, just 17 at the time the shootings took place here in Kenosha, Wisconsin last August, acquitted on all charges. In court, as the charges were read out, or as the verdicts were read out, I should say, he cried and collapsed. The jurors themselves were stoic, stood there emotionless as the foreman read out the verdicts. And of course, the families of those three men to be shot, two of them killed, the third injured, they were in court too, held their hands and they cried. This is an extraordinary case that has gripped America. The American news networks have been camped outside this courtroom in Kenosha in the bitterly cold weather for the past 2 weeks, covering every twist and turn of a trial that I think really goes to the heart of bitter divides across the United States at the moment. And two very different portraits of Kyle Rittenhouse were presented in court to the jury over the course of the 2-week trial. Either this was a man who had come to this city, had crossed state lines from neighboring Illinois, a city he knew well because his father had lived here. He'd come here in order to protect the city, to act as an uplift, upholding his citizenship and protecting the city from looters and vandals, and that he was offering medical help. That was one portrayal of him. Or he was a man bent on violence who had, as we know, turned up in the city with a semi-automatic weapon, and that he instigated the actions which then followed. Those very two different accounts of the man, and the jurors believed that he acted in self-defense, that he was threatened by the three people who he would shoot. Two of them, as I say, died. One was injured. That was the account that the jury believed, and therefore he has been acquitted on all charges, despite shooting dead two men and wounding a third. The background, of course, to all of this was the shooting by police of Jacob Blake in this city in August last year. That came at a time of very, very high tension across the country because of a number of police shootings of black people across the country. The shooting of Jacob Blake prompted widespread protests in this city. The Black Lives Matter movement was very active over the course of several days, and other movements as well in the city. And Kyle Rittenhouse had turned up here in order to protect the city. He was then chased by one man who was unarmed. And in the course of that event, Kyle Rittenhouse turned around and shot that man and killed him. He was then chased by a second man who was armed with a skateboard, who hit him with the skateboard. He shot him too, and he killed him. And a third man who was shot and injured as well. But the news this afternoon in Kenosha, Wisconsin, is that he has been acquitted on all charges.
Mark Stone live in Kenosha for us. Thank you.